The current FCT minister in the person of Nyesom Wike is somebody that has a lot of controversial side in terms of the political aspect of his own person, right? But in a whole different dimension, he's doing something that's never been done in the city of Abuja before now, and that is the development of the FCT, which is the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria, and specifically the Federal Capital, which is the FCC that is comprising of the five developmental phases of this very city. Now, if you know Nyesom Wike, you will know that there is another name we currently refer to him in this said city, which is the Mr. Project himself. And the reason why we gave it that name is because of the different projects he's doing across this very city. I have always mentioned that there is no town you go to right now in the city of Abuja that you don't see one or two construction happening in that particular location. And this is true for every single district inside the city of Abuja. And in this very video, I'll be giving you the update as regarding what has happened in the past 2 years or in the past 3 years of the land administration in the city of Abuja. These videos have been done by myself to be able to know how to strategically invest into the city of Abuja. And this is an updated version of this series of videos. And then this one will be coming in very handy and also very useful for investors to be able to now recognize certain patterns as to know how the development of this city is moving, and also to be able to position yourself early enough to be able to maximize on the every single investment I'm making into this very city. I hope you stay till the very end to be able to know how you can invest and also make that informed decision on your next related investment opportunity in the city of Abuja. My name is Alefune David and I am the real estate broker in the city of Abuja who is committed to bringing you the absolute best of real estate, educating you and also bringing you the most affordable real estate investment opportunities in this very city. Now, before we even go into any of the current construction that is currently happening, like I rightly stated earlier on, there is no town you go to right now in the city of Abuja that the federal government, they are not doing one or two construction in that particular location. And this is true for every single district inside this very city. Now, the only work you have to do as an investor is to now recognize certain patterns as to where are the locations the government they are moving to. Regardless of the different constructions happening around this very city, there is one thing that we know, that is the fact that the government, they are following a particular pattern, they are following a particular set of districts to be able to now make sure that development gets to every single district in the city of Abuja. Severally, I have stated on this particular YouTube channel that there are five developmental phases of this very city. And then the places where they are currently fully developed, they are known to be the phase 1 and the phase 2. And the current important locations to the FCT minister is the phase 3, the phase 4, and most importantly, the newly approved phase 5 that captures Lugbe, the newly allocated Lugbe, Kuje, Kiami, just immediately after the airport and some of those locations. And if you follow the pattern recognition, if you now recognize certain patterns, you would know that the government, they are moving towards that particular region. And then this is the most important thing that you have to note in this very video. Now, let's currently move into some of the current construction that is still going on and also some of the construction that the FCT minister has commissioned over the duration of his administration lately. Right, the first thing I would want to say is the Apo-Karishi expressway. Now, if you know this channel or you have followed us for quite a while, you will know that I've given you a lot of updates on this particular road. Right, the Apo-Karishi expressway, also known as the OSEX, which is the Outer Southern Expressway, is a 10-lane road that cuts through from Asukura and then takes you to Gwagwalada. But before it gets to Gwagwalada, it has a lot of connections, which takes you from Asukura to Guzape, Guzape to Apo, the Apo Mechanic, the Apo Asa, and all of those said areas, and take you from Apo Asa to Kuje, which the Kuje 6-lane road now is now linking to that particular road, and then you can access Gwagwalada from that very road. Now, the left-hand side carriageway of this very road has currently been commissioned by the FCT minister about 1 month ago, and there is still a whole lot more construction to happen. But the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria commissioned that very road for his 2nd year anniversary being in the seat of authority. While that speaks a lot to the development of this very city. That is a major change for that particular location. I would even want to say that the Apo-Karishi road was commissioned in 2011, and it has been over 13 years or even 14 years, and then there were no major constructions happening around that very location. But with the incoming of the current deputy minister known as Nyesom Wike, a lot of progress has happened and also a lot of things has changed around that very location. In fact, we currently have a project there known as the Fortreal Residence Estate, and then we started selling for as low as 7 million naira for the lowest plot in that particular location. But right now we are selling for as high as 10 million naira. This speaks to the amount of development that has happened to the Apo-Karishi location for over the last 2 years. This is also affecting other districts like Lokogoma, Saraji, the newly created Saraji district by the FCT minister, and also a whole lot more locations around that very Apo-Karishi expressway. Another major infrastructure that was newly built around that very Saraji, Apo-Karishi, and Lokogoma area is what we refer to as the African Medical Center of Excellence. This is a newly constructed and also newly constructed hospital that plays major role in that very location. Now, in Abuja, there are places we refer to as sector centers. These are locations that is needed for every single person to live in a particular district. And this African Medical Center of Excellence is one that depicts that very picture for a lot of investors. Right, the African Medical Center of Excellence was launched about 2 months ago, a month before the commissioning of the left-hand carriageway of the Apo-Karishi expressway. This also still depicts a lot of picture for investors who are interested or who still interested in investing into that particular location. Let's now proceed from the Lokogoma axis and the Apo-Karishi axis to the airport road area. Now, if you are familiar with this YouTube channel, also I did a video very recently where I talked about the Dubai Walk that is currently being replicated in Abuja, and also we'll be calling it the Abuja City Walk. Right, and then the landmass used for that very project is over 200 hectares and is located around the technology village. Now, the first phase of this very project is set to be commissioned in the 3rd year of the president of Nigeria. Therefore, that said construction is going to change a lot of things happening around that said Lugbe area. And therefore, if you're an investor who is still keen on investing into the Abuja real estate market, then that airport road area from the Piakasa area so after the airport should be somewhere that you should consider very, very deeply in terms of investing into this very city as of this very moment. And then moving on from the Abuja Walk, the next project we have is the Centenary City. Now, over time, a lot of people, they've had these negative thoughts about Centenary City because that said project has been ongoing for over 11 years, but not a lot of development has happened. In fact, before the recording of this very video, I visited the Centenary City about 3 days ago, and then I could say that they've made decent progress in terms of the construction of off-plan houses inside that very project. But as I'm currently speaking with you, the government, they've given Julius Berger Construction Company about 750 billion naira to start construction in that very location, giving it a lot of edge and also giving it the go-ahead and also in terms of the construction of that very city. And then within the space of 6 months to 1 year, we should see rapid development in the Centenary City. And also this would cause a lot of development around that very location, giving the newly allocated Dubai and also Kuje and Kiami a lot of development in terms of the construction of the Centenary City. The next thing I would want to say is the approval of the phase 5 of development in this very city. Now, this is a very, very good news for investors like myself who has made major investment in that particular location, because right now the things that will happen around that very location is one that will transform that very location in the next coming years. All right, and then the reason for the approval is because the government, they will now begin to channel funds into the development of that very location, giving it the development it needs and also giving it the beauty it needs in around that very location. Like I mentioned earlier, some of the districts captured in the phase 5 of development in this very city is Kuje, Kiami, the newly allocated Lugbe, and also just right after the international airport. And then currently the government, they have over 10 major infrastructure that would start kickstarting around that very location, and then you should pay attention to the development scattering around that very region and invest rightly while you make use of this very information. Moving on, the next major infrastructure that will start kicking up around that very location where you have Kiami, Ido, and the international airport is the construction of the road that takes you from the international airport to Ido. And then that very road cuts through just right behind Kiami. And then with the construction of that road, you can access the central business district, and then you don't need to go through the main airport expressway. You can go through that very road to access the central business district, and that road just cuts through behind Kiami. It takes you from the international airport to Edo in less than 5 minutes because of the tiring of that very road. And then it also affects Kiami positively, therefore giving investors the leverage in terms of investing early enough before the road is fully constructed and also commissioned. All right. And then lastly, construction of the 6-lane road that takes you from the International Airport Expressway to the OSEX known as the Apo-Karishi Expressway. Right. And then what I gave you update on was that they were already blasting the works, and then they've started the construction of the 6-lane road that takes you from the Kuje Bridge straight to Apo and also takes you to the International Airport. And with that road, you currently should know that the government, they are now focusing around that very location, giving it the edge it needs. And then lastly, some of the major infrastructure that will start kicking up and also that we are seeing in terms of development of this said city is known as the ESEX and the INEX. Now, the ESEX is the inner southern expressway, and also the INEX is the inner northern expressway. Right, and then it is a 6-lane road taking you from the central business district to the Ring Road 4 through the central business district, cutting through a lot of districts, and then taking you to the Ring Road 4 where you have the Gosa Market. It is around the southern part of the city, while the INEX takes you also from the central business district, then takes you to the Ring Road 4 on the other side where you have the Kado Galadima Road. So these are some of the major projects that the current FT Minister is constructing when it comes to the development of this very city. And then with this information, you should be able to know the right locations to invest in for maximum returns on your investments. If you're interested in investing into locations that I just mentioned, do ensure to reach out to me on the number shown on your screen to get more information of how you can get started by investing rightly into this very city. Once again, my name is Alefune David, and I am the real estate broker in the city of Abuja, who is committed to bringing you the absolute best of real estate, educating you, and also bringing you the most affordable real estate investment opportunities in this very city. I will see you on our next video session. Until then, stay safe.